Welcome to Books That Change You. Today, I want you to imagine a person. Maybe that person is you. He wakes up every morning with a heavy chest. He looks in the mirror and sees doubt. At work, he stays quiet even when he has good ideas. In relationships, he overthinks every word. He wants to start something new. But fear whispers, "What if you fail?" One day, while scrolling online, he finds a book called Developing Confidence Within by Jon Caranganee. The title feels simple, but something inside him says, maybe this is what I need. He starts reading. Slowly, something begins to change. And today, I want to sit with you, heart to heart, and walk you through this journey. Not like a teacher, not like a lecturer, but like a friend who understands what it feels like to doubt yourself. Jon Caranganee did not write this book as a perfect, fearless person. He wrote it as someone who struggled too. As a young man, he felt insecure. He compared himself to others. He believed confidence was something you are born with. Either you have it, or you don't. But life taught him something different. He realized confidence is not loud. It is not about showing off. It is not about being better than others. Real confidence is quiet. It is calm. It comes from within. Let me ask you something. Have you ever walked into a room and felt smaller than everyone else? Have you ever stayed silent because you were scared people might judge you? Have you ever avoided an opportunity because you thought, I'm not ready? That feeling, that voice inside your head. That is what this book talks about. Jon explains that most of us think confidence comes from outside. We think, when I get more money, I will feel confident. When I lose weight, I will feel confident. When people praise me, I will feel confident. But what happens? You get the promotion, and still feel insecure. You improve your looks, but still compare yourself. You receive compliments, but don't believe them. Why? Because confidence built on outside things is weak. It shakes easily. Real confidence is built inside. Jon tells a simple story. Imagine two houses. One is built on sand. The other is built on strong rock. When the storm comes, the house on sand falls. The house on rock stands strong. Your life is that house. If your confidence is built on approval, money, or status, it is sand. If your confidence is built on self-trust, self-awareness, and self-acceptance, it is rock. Now think about your own life. What is your confidence built on? One powerful lesson from this book is about self-talk, the voice inside your head. Many people smile outside, but inside they are very cruel to themselves. I'm not smart enough. I always mess things up. Others are better than me. Jon says confidence does not grow in a mind that insults itself. Imagine a small child trying to walk. The child falls. Would you scream at that child and say, "You are useless"? Of course not. You would encourage the child. But when you fail, how do you speak to yourself? This is where real change begins. He explains that confidence grows when you become your own supporter. When you change your inner voice from critic to coach. Instead of saying, I failed, I'm stupid, you say, I failed, but I learned something. Instead of, I'm not good enough, you say, I am growing, I am improving. Small shift, big impact. There is also a deep truth in this book about fear. Most people think confident people have no fear. That is not true. Confident people feel fear too. The difference is simple. They act anyway. Jon shares how he once avoided public speaking. His hands would shake. His heart would race. He wanted to run away. But he realized something important. Avoiding fear makes it stronger. Facing fear makes you stronger. Let me ask you honestly. What fear are you avoiding right now? Starting a business? Talking to someone you like? Saying no to people? Leaving a toxic situation? Every time you avoid fear, your mind learns. This is dangerous. Every time you face fear, your mind learns. I survived. Confidence grows not when life is easy, but when you do hard things. Another powerful idea in this book is about comparison. We live in a world of social media. Everyone looks successful. Everyone looks happy. Everyone looks confident. But you are only seeing their highlight reel. Jon explains that comparison is a thief. It steals your joy. It steals your belief. It makes you feel behind in a race that has no finish line. There will always be someone richer, smarter, more attractive. But there is only one you. Confidence grows when you focus on progress, not comparison. Yesterday's you is the only person you need to be better than. He talks about poor mindset versus growth mindset, but not in a complicated way. A poor mindset says, I can't change. A growth mindset says, I can improve. A poor mindset says, this is just how I am. A growth mindset says, I am learning who I can become. Which one sounds like your daily thinking? Confidence is not about pretending you are perfect. It is about believing you can grow. There is also a strong emotional part of the book about mistakes. Many people carry old mistakes like heavy bags on their back. A failed relationship, a bad decision, a missed opportunity. They replay it again and again. Jon reminds us that mistakes are teachers, not life sentences. Think about this. If you learned something from your mistake, was it really a waste? If that pain made you wiser, was it really meaningless? Confidence grows when you forgive yourself. Not because you were right, but because you are human. Another deep lesson is about action. Many people wait to feel confident before they act, but the truth is opposite. Action creates confidence. The first time you drive a car, you are nervous. After months of driving, you feel normal. The skill did not change overnight. Repetition changed you. Confidence is like a muscle. If you never use it, it stays weak. If you train it daily, it grows stronger. Small actions matter. Speaking up once in a meeting. Going to the gym even when you don't feel like it. Setting one boundary. Trying something new. Each small action sends a message to your brain. I am capable. And slowly, your identity changes. You stop seeing yourself as shy or weak. You start seeing yourself as brave and growing. Jon also talks about responsibility. This part is powerful. Blaming others feels easy. Blaming the economy. Blaming family. Blaming bad luck. But blame keeps you powerless. Confidence grows when you take ownership. Not everything is your fault. But your response is always your responsibility. When you say, this is my life, my choices matter, something shifts inside you. You stop waiting to be saved. You start building your own future. Imagine two people. One says, life is unfair, nothing works for me. The other says, life is hard, but I will learn. I will adapt. Who do you think becomes stronger over time? Confidence is not magic. It is built choice by choice. And maybe right now, as you are listening, you are thinking, this sounds good, but my situation is different. Let me gently challenge that thought. Every strong person you admire once doubted themselves too. The only difference? They did not let doubt decide their future. As part one of this journey closes, I want you to sit quietly for a moment and ask yourself something very honest. If I continue thinking and acting the same way for the next 5 years, where will I be? And if I start building confidence from within, step by step, what could change? This book is not about becoming loud. It is not about becoming arrogant. It is about becoming secure inside your own skin. Because when you trust yourself, when you respect yourself, when you believe you can grow, the world starts responding differently to you. And maybe today is the day you stop waiting for confidence and start creating it. In the next part, we will go deeper. We will talk about identity, habits, and how your daily routine shapes your self-belief more than you realize. But for now, just remember this one truth. Confidence is not something you find outside. It is something you build inside. Welcome back to Books That Change You. In the last part, we spoke about confidence coming from within, not from money, not from praise, not from status, but from self-trust. Now let me ask you something very personal. Who do you believe you are? Not your name, not your job, not your role in your family. Deep inside, who do you believe you are? Because Jon Caranganee explains something powerful in this part of the journey. Your confidence is directly connected to your identity. If deep inside you believe, I am shy, you will act shy. If you believe, I am unlucky, you will see proof of bad luck everywhere. If you believe, I am not leadership material, you will step back every time opportunity comes. Your life does not rise above your identity. And here is the truth most people don't realize. Your identity is not fixed. It is built. When Jon was younger, he saw himself as someone who was not enough, not strong enough, not smart enough, not bold enough. And because of that identity, he behaved in ways that proved it true. He avoided challenges. He stayed in the background. He chose safety over growth. But one day he asked himself a different question. What if the problem is not my ability, but my belief about myself? That question changed everything. Think about your own life. What labels have you accepted without questioning? Maybe a teacher once said you were average. Maybe someone told you that you are too emotional. Maybe you failed once, and you decided, this is who I am. But what if that was just a moment, not your identity? Jon explains that confidence grows when you consciously choose your identity instead of accepting one by accident. He gives a simple example. If someone wants to become fit, they usually focus on actions. They say, I will go to the gym. But deep inside, if they still see themselves as lazy, they will quit. But if they shift their identity and say, I am becoming a disciplined person, everything changes. Actions follow identity. Let me ask you something honestly. If you saw yourself as a confident person starting today, how would you walk differently? How would you speak? How would you make decisions? You see, confidence is not about changing your personality. It is about upgrading your self-image. And this change does not happen overnight. It happens in small daily habits. Jon talks about habits in a very real way, not big dramatic life changes, small daily promises you keep to yourself. Because every time you break a promise to yourself, your self-trust weakens. When you say, I will wake up early, and you don't. When you say, I will start that project, and you delay again, your brain slowly learns, my words don't matter. But when you keep even small promises, something powerful happens. You start trusting yourself. Confidence is built on self-trust. Imagine two friends. One friend always cancels plans. The other friend always shows up. Which one do you trust more? Now think about yourself. Are you the friend who shows up for your own goals? Jon shares a story about a man who wanted to change his life. He kept waiting for motivation. He said, when I feel ready, I will act. But motivation is unpredictable. Some days you feel strong. Some days you feel tired. Discipline is different. Discipline says, I will act even when I don't feel like it. Confidence grows not when you feel powerful. Confidence grows when you act despite not feeling powerful. This is where many people fail. They wait for the feeling first. But the feeling comes after the action. Have you noticed this in your own life? The first day of something new is scary. The 10th day feels normal. The 100th day feels easy. Your brain adapts. Jon explains that your mind is like a mirror. It reflects what you repeatedly do. If you repeatedly avoid challenges, your mind reflects weakness. If you repeatedly face discomfort, your mind reflects strength. And here is something deeper. Many people are afraid of looking foolish. They don't try new things because they fear judgment. But ask yourself, how much of your life are you living based on other people's opinions? Jon says something simple but powerful. Most people are too busy worrying about themselves to judge you as much as you think. And even if they do judge, does that truly change your worth? There is a strong emotional lesson here about approval. If your confidence depends on everyone liking you, you will constantly adjust yourself. You will say yes when you want to say no. You will hide your real thoughts. You will shrink to fit in. But shrinking never creates confidence. Standing in your truth does. Jon talks about boundaries. Many people think confident people are rude. That is not true. Confident people are clear. They respect others, but they also respect themselves. Let me ask you this. When was the last time you said yes to something you didn't want to do? Why did you say yes? Fear of rejection? Fear of conflict? Fear of being disliked? Confidence grows when you understand that saying no does not make you bad. It makes you honest. There is also a powerful difference Jon explains between arrogance and confidence. Arrogance says, I am better than you. Confidence says, I am comfortable with myself. Arrogance needs attention. Confidence does not. Arrogance is loud. Confidence is calm. You don't need to prove anything when you truly believe in yourself. Another deep idea in this part is about emotional control. Life will test you. Someone will criticize you. Someone will doubt you. Something will go wrong. The question is not whether problems will come. They will. The real question is, who are you in those moments? Jon shares that when he started working on his confidence, he realized that emotional reactions were hurting him. One small criticism would ruin his entire day. But over time, he learned to pause. Instead of reacting immediately, he asked himself, is this criticism useful? If yes, I will learn. If no, I will ignore. That small pause gave him power. Confidence is not about controlling the world, it is about controlling your response. Think about the last time someone said something negative to you. Did you carry it in your mind all day? Did you replay it at night? What if you had the power to choose which thoughts to keep and which to throw away? That is inner strength. Jon also reminds us that growth requires discomfort. Comfort feels safe, but comfort does not expand you. Imagine a muscle. If you never challenge it, it stays weak. When you lift something heavy, it feels painful, but that pain is growth. The same is true for confidence. The uncomfortable conversation, the difficult task, the new opportunity. These are your mental weights. Avoid them and you stay the same. Lift them and you grow stronger. And maybe right now you are thinking, but I've tried before. I failed. Let me tell you something gently. Failure is not the opposite of confidence. Quitting is. Every confident person you admire has failed more times than you know. The difference is simple. They did not make failure their identity. They made it feedback. As we close this part, I want you to imagine your future self. 5 years from now, standing taller, speaking clearly, making decisions without fear controlling you. That version of you is not a different person. It is you, with a stronger identity. You, with stronger habits. You, with deeper self-trust. Confidence is not a gift given to a lucky few. It is a skill. It is a practice. It is a daily choice. And the beautiful thing, you can start today. In the next part, we will go even deeper. We will talk about fear of failure, success mindset, and how your relationship with money, mistakes, and ambition shapes your confidence more than you realize. For now, just ask yourself one powerful question. Who am I choosing to become? Starting today. Welcome back to Books That Change You. Take a slow breath with me for a moment. In the first part, we talked about building confidence from within. In the second part, we talked about identity and habits. Now we go deeper, because this is where most people get stuck. Fear of failure. Let me ask you something very honest. How many dreams have you quietly buried because you were afraid you might fail? Maybe you wanted to start a business. Maybe you wanted to change your career. Maybe you wanted to express your true self. But a small voice inside said, "What if it doesn't work?" Jon Caranganee explains something powerful here. He says most people are not afraid of failure itself. They are afraid of what failure means about them. If I fail, does that mean I am not smart? If I fail, does that mean I am not capable? If I fail, will people laugh at me? So instead of risking failure, we choose safety. And safety feels comfortable, but it slowly kills our potential. Imagine two people. One person says, "I will only try things I know I can win." The other person says, "I will try things that help me grow." Who do you think builds stronger confidence over time? The first person protects their ego. The second person builds their character. Jon shares a simple truth. Failure is data. It is feedback. It is information. But your mind turns it into identity. You fail once, and your mind says, "See, you are not good enough." But what if the truth is simply, "This strategy didn't work"? Think about babies learning to walk. They fall again and again, hundreds of times. But they never think, "Maybe walking is not for me." They just try again. So what changed between childhood and now? Ego. As adults, we want to look perfect. We want to protect our image. We are afraid to look foolish, and that fear keeps us small. Jon explains that confident people are not less afraid. They just have a different relationship with fear. They see fear as a sign of growth. If something scares you, maybe it matters. If something makes your heart beat faster, maybe it is stretching you. Let me ask you something quietly. What is one thing you have been avoiding because it feels scary? Now imagine doing it. Not perfectly, just trying. Even if you fail, what would you gain? Experience, clarity, strength. You see, confidence grows every time you survive something uncomfortable. There is another deep idea in this part. The difference between rich mindset and poor mindset. Not only about money, about thinking. A poor mindset says, "If I fail, I lose everything." A rich mindset says, "If I fail, I learn something valuable." A poor mindset avoids risk completely. A rich mindset takes calculated risks. Confidence is connected to how you see opportunity. Some people see opportunity and think, "What if it goes wrong?" Others see opportunity and think, "What if it goes right?" Which voice is louder in your head? Jon talks about ambition too. Many people secretly feel guilty about wanting more. More success, more money, more impact. They think wanting more makes them greedy. But he explains something important. Ambition is not greed when it comes from growth. Wanting to improve your life, wanting to provide more for your family, wanting to express your full potential, that is not greed. That is purpose. The problem is not ambition. The problem is insecurity. When insecurity drives you, you chase success to prove your worth. When confidence drives you, you chase success to express your worth. That is a big difference. Let me give you a simple real-life example. Two people start a business. The first person wants to prove to everyone that they are better. Every small setback feels like a personal attack. Stress controls them. The second person wants to build something meaningful. When setbacks happen, they adjust and learn. Same action, different mindset, different confidence level. Jon also talks about criticism. If you try to grow, people will talk. Some will support you. Some will doubt you. Some will laugh. If your confidence depends on everyone clapping for you, you will stop at the first negative comment. But if your confidence is internal, you will ask, is this criticism useful? If yes, improve. If no, ignore. This is emotional maturity. And let's be real, sometimes the harshest critic is not other people. It is you. That inner voice again. You're too late. You should have started earlier. Others are ahead. Comparison returns. But here is a question for you. If you start today, will you be ahead of where you were yesterday? Yes. And that is enough. Jon explains that confidence grows when you measure your life by growth, not by speed. Some people bloom early. Some bloom later. A tree does not compare itself to another tree. It grows at its own pace. So why do you? There is also a powerful part about responsibility in this section. It is easy to blame the economy. It is easy to blame your background. It is easy to blame bad luck. And sometimes, yes, life is unfair. But confidence does not grow in blame. Confidence grows in ownership. When you say, this is my starting point, it may not be perfect, but I will build from here. That sentence alone gives you power. Jon shares that once he stopped blaming circumstances and started asking, what can I control? His life began to change. You cannot control everything, but you can control your effort, your learning, your reaction, your persistence. And that is enough to build confidence step by step. There is one more emotional truth in this part. Success does not automatically create confidence. You might think, when I achieve this goal, I will finally feel confident. But if your inner world is full of doubt, success will feel temporary. True confidence is built before the success arrives. It is built in the unseen hours, when nobody is clapping, when nobody is watching, when you choose discipline over distraction. So let me ask you something powerful. If no one ever praised you, would you still chase your goals? If no one noticed your progress, would you still grow? That answer shows how strong your internal confidence is. As we slowly close this part, imagine yourself standing at a door. On one side of the door is safety, predictable, comfortable, small. On the other side is growth, uncertain, challenging, expanding. Fear stands at the door and whispers, stay where you are. But confidence whispers, step forward. You don't need to run. You don't need to be fearless. You just need to take one step. Because every time you step toward growth, even with shaking hands, you send a powerful message to yourself. I am stronger than my fear. And that message, repeated enough times, becomes unshakable confidence. In the next part, we will explore relationships, self-respect, and how the people around you either build or break your confidence. Now, sit with this question. Are you living to avoid failure, or are you living to discover your strength? Welcome back to Books That Change You. Take a moment and think about the 5 people you spend the most time with. Now ask yourself quietly, do they make you feel stronger, or do they make you feel smaller? In this part of the journey, Jon Caranganee goes deeper into something many people ignore: the connection between confidence and relationships. You can work on your mindset. You can build habits. You can face fears. But if the environment around you constantly pulls you down, your confidence will struggle to grow. Let me tell you a simple story. There was a young woman who wanted to improve her life. She started reading. She started exercising. She started speaking more positively about herself. But every time she met her old friends, they laughed at her goals. Why are you trying so hard? You've changed. Don't act like you're better than us. Slowly, she began doubting herself again. Have you ever experienced this? When you try to grow, not everyone celebrates you. Some people feel uncomfortable because your growth reminds them of their own fears. Jon explains something powerful here. Not everyone who has access to you deserves influence over you. Confidence requires protection. That does not mean you become rude. It means you become selective. If you plant a seed in good soil, it grows. If you plant it in toxic soil, it struggles. Your mind is that seed. Who are you allowing to water it? There is also something deeper in relationships: self-respect. Many people think confidence is about how you speak, how you dress, how you present yourself. But true confidence is how you treat yourself in private. Do you allow people to cross your boundaries? Do you tolerate disrespect because you fear being alone? Do you shrink your dreams to keep others comfortable? Jon shares that one of the biggest confidence killers is saying yes when your heart is screaming no. At first, it feels small, but over time, it damages your self-trust. Every time you ignore your own needs to please others, you send yourself a message: my feelings don't matter. And when your own mind believes that, confidence fades. Let me ask you something honestly. When was the last time you chose yourself without guilt? Confidence grows when you respect your own standards. This does not mean you become selfish. It means you stop abandoning yourself. There is also a powerful lesson here about comparison in relationships. Sometimes we compare our progress with friends. We see someone getting married, someone buying a house, someone earning more money. And we start questioning our path. Am I behind? Am I failing? Should I be further? But Jon reminds us that everyone's timeline is different. If you try to live someone else's life, you lose connection with your own purpose. Confidence grows when you accept your unique journey. Another deep truth in this part is about communication. Many people think confident people are always loud and dominant, but real confidence shows in calm communication. When someone disagrees with you, do you panic? When someone criticizes you, do you explode? When someone rejects you, do you fall apart? Or can you stay steady? Jon explains that emotional stability is one of the strongest forms of confidence. If your mood depends on other people's opinions, you are giving away your power. But when you learn to respond instead of react, something changes inside you. Imagine someone says, "I don't think you can do it." An insecure mind hears, "You are not capable." A confident mind hears, "That is their opinion." Same words, different reaction. That difference creates strength. Jon also talks about loneliness. Sometimes when you start improving your life, you may feel alone. Old friends may not understand you. Old habits may no longer fit you. And that space between who you were and who you are becoming can feel uncomfortable. But here is a powerful thought. Growth sometimes requires distance. Distance from negative energy. Distance from distractions. Distance from people who only knew the old version of you. That space is not punishment. It is preparation. Let me ask you something gently. Are you afraid of being alone? Or are you afraid of facing yourself? Because when you are alone, your true thoughts become louder. Jon explains that learning to enjoy your own company is a major step toward confidence. If you cannot sit with yourself in silence, you will constantly seek distraction. But when you are comfortable alone, you no longer chase validation desperately. You choose relationships from strength, not from fear. There is also a powerful lesson about love. If you do not love and respect yourself, you will accept less than you deserve. You will confuse attention with care. You will confuse control with protection. You will confuse attachment with connection. Confidence changes the quality of your relationships. You stop begging for love. You start choosing it. You stop proving your worth. You start knowing your worth. And that shift is powerful. Jon shares that one of the biggest turning points in his life was realizing he did not need everyone to understand him. He only needed to understand himself. That is freedom. Think about how much energy you spend trying to explain yourself, justify yourself, or gain approval. What if you redirected that energy toward building your goals instead? Confidence is not about having many people around you. It is about having the right people, people who challenge you, people who support your growth, people who respect your boundaries. And sometimes, it is also about becoming that person for yourself. As we come closer to the end of this part, I want you to imagine something. Imagine a version of you who speaks clearly without fear, says no without guilt, walks away from disrespect calmly, chooses relationships that align with your values. How would that feel? That version of you is not impossible. It is built through daily self-respect. Confidence in relationships does not come from controlling others. It comes from controlling your standards. And here is the final question for this part. Are the people around you helping you grow or helping you stay comfortable? Because your environment shapes your future more than you realize. In the next and final part, we will bring everything together. We will talk about long-term transformation, purpose, and how to make confidence a permanent part of who you are. For now, remember this. You cannot build a confident life while constantly abandoning yourself. Choose yourself, respect yourself, protect your growth, and watch how your world begins to change. Welcome back to Books That Change You. We've walked through fear. We've talked about identity. We've faced habits, failure, relationships, and self-respect. Now let's bring everything together, because confidence is not a moment. It is not a single decision. It is not one brave action. It is a lifestyle. Jon Caranganee makes something very clear in this final part of the journey. Developing confidence within is not about becoming a different person. It is about becoming aligned with your values, aligned with your purpose, aligned with the truth of who you are. Let me ask you something simple but deep. If nobody judged you, if nobody criticized you, if nobody compared you, who would you choose to become? Most people never ask this question. They build their lives based on expectations, family expectations, society expectations, social media expectations. But confidence grows when your life matches your inner truth. There is a powerful story Jon shares about a man who spent years chasing a career his family wanted for him. He made good money. People respected him. But inside, he felt empty. He looked successful, but he didn't feel strong. Why? Because confidence does not come from living someone else's dream. It comes from living yours. That doesn't mean you make reckless decisions. It means you slowly move toward what feels meaningful to you. Confidence grows when your actions match your values. Another important lesson in this final stage is consistency. Many people feel motivated after reading a book. They feel inspired for a week, maybe 2. Then life happens. Old habits return. Old fears return. Old excuses return. And they think, maybe I'm just not confident. But Jon explains something very real. Transformation is boring. Yes, boring. It is repeating small actions daily. It is choosing discipline when nobody is watching. It is improving 1% at a time. Confidence is not built in one dramatic moment. It is built in quiet repetition. The morning you wake up early, even when you don't want to. The day you speak up, even when your voice shakes. The moment you walk away from disrespect, calmly. These small wins change your identity, and identity shapes destiny. There is also a powerful reminder about setbacks. Even confident people have bad days. Even strong people doubt themselves sometimes. The difference? They don't make temporary feelings permanent beliefs. If you have a bad day, it does not mean you are weak. If you make a mistake, it does not erase your growth. Confidence is not perfection. It is resilience. Let me ask you honestly, when something goes wrong in your life, do you collapse or do you adjust? Adjustment is power. Jon talks about purpose in a very grounded way, not in a dramatic, change the world way. Purpose can be simple: becoming a better parent, building a stable life, helping people through your work, improving yourself daily. When your life has direction, confidence grows naturally. Why? Because you are no longer reacting to life. You are moving towards something, and when you move with intention, fear loses control. There is another deep emotional truth here. Many people secretly believe they are not worthy of confidence, maybe because of past failures, maybe because of childhood criticism, maybe because someone once made them feel small. But confidence is not something you earn by being perfect. It is something you claim by being human. You are allowed to grow. You are allowed to improve. You are allowed to outgrow old versions of yourself. Let that sink in. You are allowed to change. Jon reminds us that the strongest confidence comes from self-acceptance. Not acceptance of laziness, not acceptance of excuses, but acceptance of your starting point. You stop fighting who you were and start building who you are becoming. And here is something powerful to think about. 5 years from now, your life will change. The only question is, will it change by accident or by intention? If you keep doubting yourself daily, that doubt will compound. But if you take small, brave actions daily, that confidence will compound too. Confidence works like interest in a bank account. Tiny deposits, every day. Reading instead of scrolling. Practicing instead of procrastinating. Speaking honestly instead of hiding. Small deposits, big results over time. As we close this journey, I want you to imagine the person from the beginning, the one who felt lost, the one who doubted themselves, the one who picked up this book searching for answers. That person did not magically become fearless. They became aware of their thoughts, aware of their habits, aware of their power. And awareness is the first step toward transformation. Let me ask you one final question. If you truly believed in yourself starting today, what would you stop tolerating? What would you start pursuing? What would you finally let go of? Confidence is not loud. It is steady. It is waking up and choosing growth again. It is trusting yourself even when results are slow. It is respecting your own standards, even when nobody else understands. You don't need to change your entire life tomorrow. You just need to take one step, one honest conversation, one disciplined morning, one brave decision, and then repeat. Because developing confidence within is not about becoming someone new. It is about returning to the strength that was always there, maybe buried under fear, maybe hidden under comparison, maybe silenced by criticism, but still there. And now, as you sit here listening, I want you to feel something simple. You are not stuck. You are not broken. You are not behind. You are becoming. So from this moment forward, don't wait for permission. Don't wait for perfect timing. Don't wait for everyone's approval. Build quietly, grow steadily, trust deeply. And one day, you will look back at this version of yourself and smile. Because the confidence you were searching for was inside you all along.